With Steph Curry and Andrew Wiggins out with injuries, the Warriors have to rely heavily on Jordan Poole. He's been doing great this season, but now all eyes are on him as he has to carry the team. So in this video, we'll tell you all about the advice Steph and Steve Kerr gave the young point guard to prepare for this incredibly important role. Let's get right into it. First up, let's talk about Curry's advice. When reporters asked Steph what the key is for Poole to succeed during this stretch, he emphasized that all JP needs is to be himself. The two-time MVP said this because he has tons of faith in Jordan and genuinely believes he can effectively carry the offensive load for the next couple of weeks. But why does Curry believe in Poole so much? That's because he's already proven that he can shoulder the burden when Curry's out. Remember that brief stretch toward the end of the 2022 regular season? Steph missed around 2 weeks because of an injury, so Poole was starting in his place, and he didn't disappoint even one bit. When referring to that time, Curry said that JP had an amazing stretch as he was playing efficient basketball while being in control of what he was doing. Steph added that Jordan even put his name on the map thanks to his terrific performances during that run, which ultimately translated into him helping Golden State win a ring. Following that, Steph said he knows Poole holds himself to a high standard since they always talk about it. According to the four-time champ, JP always wants to be more efficient and consistent, so he already knows what he needs to focus on. Curry finished by saying that this is a great chance for Poole to reignite who he truly is and help the depleted Warriors squad win some games. Up next, what advice did Kerr give? For Steve, the most important thing he thinks Poole should do is slow things down because he just gets in a rush. Coach Kerr added that JP3 has so much ability, but according to Steve, it's usually the young guys with a lot of skill that make the most mistakes since they're trying to learn what they can and can't do. According to Kerr, Poole's just so gifted, fast, and shifty that he often gets into trouble just because he's rushing things. If you've ever watched him play, you'd know how accurate that description is. At times, he seems way too out of control, resulting in turnovers, travels, and carries. So Steve once again emphasized that the coaching staff was trying to slow him down. That way, the game can come to him and he won't have to force things. However, Kerr recognizes that this will only come with experience. After all, JP3 is only 23 years old right now. Moving on, how good was he when Curry was out last season? Considering how much pressure was on the young point guard, we'll have to say that he was nothing short of phenomenal. Including the game that ended Steph's 2022 regular season, Poole averaged 26 points per game in that last 13 games of Golden State's 2022 campaign. Plus, he grabbed 4.8 rebounds and dished out 5.9 dimes during that stretch as well. And get this, he was drilling 38.2% of his threes during that run. What's more, he led the NBA in threes made for the month of March with 56 trays on 44.4% shooting from downtown. Then, Poole started in place of Curry in the first 5 games of the playoffs, and he was again fantastic. He scored 30 points in his playoff debut as Curry came off the bench to get rid of the injury rust. He followed that up with 29 points in Game 2 and 27 points in Game 3. His performances allowed him to etch his name in the history books as he became the 16th player in NBA history to score at least 25 points in each of his first 3 playoff games and the second Warrior to do so, along with Wilt Chamberlain. Talk about being in elite company. If JP3 could do all that last season when the stakes were high, then we don't see why he can't do it again. Hopefully, he can keep the Warriors afloat and at least in play-in contention so that when Curry's back, the team can make a push for the 6th seed in the West. Coming up, how's Poole faring without Curry in the 2023 season? At an individual level, he's been pretty darn good. He's been without Curry in 6 games this season, and he's averaging 30 points per game, along with 4.7 assists and 1 steal. His efficiency across 6 games is also impressive as he's making 46.7% of his field goals and 33.3% of his threes, while converting 90.6% of his shots at the charity stripe. His best game out of the 6 was easily his heroic outing against the Raptors on the 18th of December, as he literally played like he was Steph Curry. JP3 put up 43 points, 6 assists, and 1 steal in 35 minutes of action, and his efficiency was through the roof. He made 14 of his 23 field goals, which are good for 60.9%, and drained 5 of his 11 threes, giving him a 3-point percentage of 45.5, and get this, he converted on 90.9% of his free throws. But most importantly, he led his team to the win. Unfortunately, that's the only one he's been able to lead Golden State to when Curry sits, as they have a record of 1-5 this season when Poole fills in for the franchise player. Following that, let's look at some of Jordan's highlights from the Raptors game. Poole put on a spectacular show in this game, paying homage to the great Steph Curry with his impressive performance. shots. His impressive display of basketball skills was a true joy to watch, and we were particularly impressed by a standout play he made about 5 minutes before the end of the first quarter. Once JP brought the ball up the floor, he went between his legs, followed by a behind-the-back move, after which he found himself open at the right wing. And of course, he cashed in on the three, though we'd like to give some credit to Looney because of the amazing screen he set. The next really impressive play came with a little under 5 minutes left in the third. The second he reached the logo, he sprinted to the rim and flipped the high-arcing shot up and in, just like Steph always does. Plus, he made the shot despite being fouled. At the beginning of the fourth quarter, his impressive play is worth mentioning. After bringing the ball up to half court, he promptly drove to the paint and executed a graceful floater shot even while being defended. His effort paid off as the shot went in. We're not lying when we say he looked like Curry possessed him during this game. Now, let's talk about the Warriors' international record. Starting off, what did Poole have to say about it? Despite being the defending champs, the Warriors have been struggling this season, especially in away games. And while they've been pretty good at home, they're actually undefeated when they play outside of the US. That is, if you include the preseason. After walking away with the W against the Raps in Toronto, the Warriors improved their international record to 3-0. Jordan was obviously over the moon and even showed off his dance moves during the game. Once he joined NBC Sports Bay Area's Warriors post-game live after the game, he explained what caused him to dance like that, and he said he was glad they asked about it. He went on to say, with a smile on his face, "Shout out to the 414, shout out to Certified Trapper, shout out to everybody." Then he said, "We lit," and highlighted how they went 2-0 in Japan, and now they won in Canada, so whatever foreign action the team has going on, it's working according to Poole. Up next, let's talk about Golden State's record in away games. After losing to the Knicks on the 20th of December, the Warriors are now sitting with a record of 3-15 on the road. Not only is that horrible, it's just unacceptable, especially because they're the defending champs. And the worst part is that many of those games were winnable, but they lost merely because of careless mistakes and an inability to maintain a lead. At this rate, they won't even be able to win 10 out of the 41 road games they have left to play this season. During the 2022 season, the team experienced success in their away games, finishing with a 22-19 record. However, they have struggled to perform well this year in road games, which is a cause for concern. If they're struggling so much during the regular season, then even if they do make the playoffs, the team won't be able to do much damage, as it's highly unlikely for them to have the home court advantage to start any playoff series. But again, we still don't know if Golden State will make it that far this year. Finally, can the Warriors turn things around on the road this season? We don't think so, because even when they were really healthy, they just turned into one of the worst teams in the league when they played away from Chase Center. Plus, they're currently 1-4 in their last 5 away games, with their next one being against the red-hot Brooklyn Nets, who are at full strength. The depleted Warriors squad probably is going to get blown out big time by KD and Kyrie, which will leave the Warriors in dangerous territory, as they're already 11th in the West. With the return of Wiggins and Steph, the Golden State Warriors will need to excel in away games in order to achieve their goals for the remainder of the regular season. As we near the halfway point of the season, it's becoming increasingly clear that the team will rely on the heroic performances of Curry to secure a spot as a top seed. While it is uncertain how the rest of the season will play out, it is certain that the Warriors will need to bring their best effort in every game to meet their objectives. That's a wrap for this video. Do you think Poole's doing a good job carrying the Warriors without Curry and Wiggs? Let us know in the comments below. As always, remember to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you at the next one.